334 live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And on the line with us here is the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. Governor, good to have you on our show.
Joel, it's great to be back with you. Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm going to jump right to it, and let's talk about your budget here. What are the major themes? You know, what really gets your passion going about this new budget?
Everything gets my passion going, Joel. I mean, I focus every day really on three letters: GSD, get stuff done. And
yes.
My budget is a reflection of that. It's common sense, bipartisan things that help move Pennsylvania forward, like investing in our public schools. Erie County schools, for example, would receive an additional $20 million on top of the record funding they got last year, investing in our schools, investing in public safety, hiring more state troopers, and making sure municipal police departments get more resources, continuing to invest in economic development. Erie County's received a whole lot of funding from the state, including we worked very hard to develop the CRIZ in Erie to create more economic opportunity there. And then I think really the signature focus of this budget is around workforce development and understanding workforce is really different than employment. On employment, we're in great shape. We've got historically low unemployment. People are working. We're doing well, but I'm trying to plan for tomorrow. And we see some areas that are really troubling in our workforce that we've got to address right now. I've got more than 500,000 Pennsylvanians who literally do not have a high school degree. These are adults, of course. We want to invest in adult literacy, get them their GED, and get them out in the workforce. We need more child care workers, and so we invest a historic amount of funding, $55 million, to give $1,000 recruitment and retention bonuses to child care workers. We have 3,000 child care worker slots that are vacant right now. If we simply fill those, we'll have 25,000 more kids able to get access to child care, which is an economic issue, Joel, because it means parents can go to work and not worry about their kids' safety and well-being.
Can I interrupt you for a second there? Because this child care issue is absolutely huge in Erie. We did our own local study. We found that there's 2,500 slots that's the demand of children that need childcare, but we don't have the supply for it. And our folks are putting in $5 million. But what they found is that the wages in the child care ecosystem are so low that people are leaving, even if they have some kind of credential. They're going to work for Walmart or Target, Governor.
Right. And it's crazy. You've got these folks that desperately want to help our children, and they want to serve our kids, and they want to educate our kids. We got to keep them in the classroom. And this is simple math, right? We know if we can raise wages, that's why we want to do this $1,000 bonus. If we can raise wages, we can keep them in the classroom and recruit the 3,000 teachers necessary, caretakers necessary, in order to help fill these 25,000 spots in early learning centers. And this is great for these kids. It's great for the workers. And it is awesome for our economy. You go ask any chamber of commerce, as you alluded to, what's the biggest challenges these companies, these businesses face? It's a lack of access to childcare, which holds back their employment and productivity.
It's amazing. Let's go to another big budget item, is this housing. What are you hoping to do to make housing more accessible and affordable? You know, a lot of Pennsylvania, a lot of these third-class cities, they haven't seen, investment. They've seen disinvestment throughout these cities. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Look, housing is a huge challenge in Erie County, and really, it's not unique to Erie County. It's all across Pennsylvania, and it comes in a lot of different forms. And what I'm trying to do is cut costs for people so they can either stay in their homes or afford new homes. So under my plan, we're going to continue to provide property tax rent rebates to seniors. You'll remember, because we talked about it on your show before.
Yeah.
For 20 years, lawmakers talked about giving seniors a tax break. I got it done in my first 6 months as governor, and now we're seeing hundreds of thousands of new seniors get nearly double the property tax rebate they got before. For folks who aren't seniors, for the first time ever, I was able to certify $1 billion in property tax relief through what's known as the homestead and farmstead exclusion. That's going to cut property taxes for the average Pennsylvania homeowner by $160 this year. That's a big deal. We also want to make sure that people who are in their homes but have repair needs that are forcing them out of their homes have funding available to help with, say, putting a new boiler in your home, or fixing the gutters, or repairing the windows or the roof that's leaking. So we want to create a $50 million fund for a statewide housing repair initiative. We did something like this a couple of years ago, and the demand was through the roof, especially in rural areas. We've got to get back to that. And we want to help people buy homes for the first time. We want more home ownership, more opportunities for people to accumulate generational wealth. So I'm going to invest $10 million to help first-time home buyers just cover their closing costs, so they have more money available to invest in their homes for a project or what have you. Now, Joel, I want to make really clear, because I know we've just talked about a lot of investments. My budget also cuts a bunch of waste. It cuts taxes for small businesses and seniors and families who are trying to afford childcare. It's a balanced budget. And at the end of the day, if the legislature passed my budget as is, and I'm sure they're going to make amendments to it, but if they passed it as is, we would still have billions of dollars in surplus when all is said and done. So we're doing all of these things, making these smart investments, cutting taxes, and maintaining a healthy reserve balance, which I think is really important.
I want to go to another hot topic this week. The president of Penn State just said that we're looking at maybe cutting up to 12 small campuses across the state. Obviously, we've had a contraction in the PASHE system. Is higher ed in free fall in Pennsylvania, especially the public side of it?
Not at all. Higher ed is being invested in for the first time in about 30 years at the state level. I called for reform and investment, and a bipartisan group of lawmakers met me halfway, and we got that done. We're now paying universities for performance. So, for example, Joel, we need more nurses in Pennsylvania. We'll pay universities for graduating more nurses, right? That's a win for the nurse. It's a win for the university. It's a win for all Pennsylvanians. That's just one example of many where we'll pay for performance. We're putting more money into scholarships for students. So I think the state of higher education is strengthening in Pennsylvania. It is also that Penn State and the chancellor, the President Benapudi made this clear. They need to right size, and they need to make sure that they're able to invest in the campuses that are working, and maybe make some changes for the campuses that can no longer keep up. She'll make those decisions. They're not going to be driven by the state, but I'm pleased to see someone taking seriously the need to look at all of this.
With your and we're talking to Governor Josh Shapiro live here on Talk Erie. With your get stuff done, mantra, part of this, we're a net educator for the rest of the United States. How do we keep more of our young people? How do we fight that brain drain? I know that's a huge topic here in Erie and really across the Commonwealth.
This is something that governors have talked about over many, many, many administrations. And I don't fault my predecessors at all. I think they really care deeply about that issue of keeping students here. So do I. But for the first time ever, we are now going to pay universities to keep students here. Let me explain. That performance-based funding that I talked about before, remember I used the example of a nurse? It will also be true that we could say to a Penn State or say to one of our other public institutions, hey, if you graduate a student and they stay in Pennsylvania, we'll give you a payment. We'll give you an incentive payment for keeping that student here. That's sort of new and unique and different and important for the following reason. In the past, we would hoped the universities would prioritize keeping students here, but we never incentivized it. Now we're directly incentivizing it, and hopefully that will lead to a greater focus in career counseling and internship opportunities where colleges are going to be more focused on keeping students here because they know they can get paid for that work.
You mentioned workforce, and one of the things that I talk to a lot of the local reps, the local state senator, and so on, is whether they're satisfied with Pennsylvania's workforce development system. Governor Shapiro, are you satisfied with our workforce development system?
I am getting more and more satisfied every day because we're working to make investments more and more every day, and we're getting stronger every day. Let me explain and put some sort of meat on those bones. I think workforce is maybe the biggest challenge we face as a Commonwealth, with 1 out of every 3 Pennsylvanians being over the age of 60 at the end of this decade, in 2030.
Wow.
We know that while there's a lot of folks over 60 who are working, they're on their way out of the workforce, not into it. And at the same time, we're getting older and losing people in the workforce. I don't know that we've been doing a good enough job training those who are entering the workforce for the jobs that we need done today and tomorrow. And so that is why we've dramatically increased our focus on investing in VOTEC in our high schools. Erie County schools are benefiting from that money right now. So you want to learn to be a welder or a farmhand or a computer programmer, you can now learn that in our high schools. In addition, we've expanded the number of apprenticeship programs available, and we've certified more apprentices than ever before in Pennsylvania. That is telling me that we're getting people skilled and ready to go for the jobs we need done today and in the future. That's why I'm optimistic. I'm bullish on where we're going, but I'm not going to stop there. That's why this budget doubles down on my investment in workforce to help on the child care front, to help make sure those with disabilities get the skill sets they need to be able to work, to make sure that those who have unique challenges are able to go to work, to help those who don't have a high school degree get that degree and get in the workforce. You know, of course, the first executive order I signed was doing away with the college degree requirement for nearly every state government job. I want to see more in the private sector do that, to open up the doors of opportunity to more people without that college degree. I think all of those things together can help address our workforce challenges.
It's pretty big news up here when you signed the bill that allowed Erie to have a CRIZ. And so my last question for you, Governor Shapiro, is what are you hoping that this CRIZ zone, that this City Revitalization Improvement Zone will bring out of Erie? Because we're hoping for full-on renaissance and regrowth.
I am very bullish on Erie. I'm bullish on Erie from a tourism and hospitality perspective, an outdoor rec perspective. I think we can bring more manufacturing back to Erie. I think we've got Main Street opportunities in Erie. The waterfront is absolutely gorgeous and a destination point. And I think the CRIZ is going to allow us to really focus like a laser beam on all of those areas and bring more economic opportunity. And you know, I worked hard to get that done. And what I said to political leaders, by the way, Democrats and Republicans, we've got to work together and we've got to partner with the private sector. Great leaders like Tom Hagen and, you know, big businesses like Erie Insurance who are incredibly helpful in this process. And we've all got to be rowing in the same direction. And if we're rowing in the same direction, then we can get this CRIZ passed and we can bring more economic opportunities, jobs, grow our tax base in Erie County, in the city of Erie. And I'm confident that this CRIZ is going to help us do that. And just really hats off to everybody who was involved in this effort, who did this hard work, both behind the scenes and out front. We're rowing in the same direction, and Erie's going to benefit from that. I absolutely love Erie. I love my time there. I'm excited about Erie's future, and I think this CRIZ shows just how much I want to invest in it now and well into the future.
Governor Josh Shapiro, the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on Talk Erie. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Joel. Have a great day.
You too. It is 3:49.